What if I told you that success isn't about giant leaps, but tiny, consistent steps? That small habits, repeated over time, can completely transform your life. That's the idea behind Atomic Habits by James Clear, a book that shows how tiny changes create extraordinary results. James Clear wrote this book after a serious injury in college that nearly ended his baseball career. He discovered that small improvements, just 1% better each day, can compound into massive success. Atomic Habits isn't about willpower or motivation. It's about systems, the small routines that shape our daily lives. In this video, we'll explore the most powerful lessons from this book, including the 4 laws of behavior change, and show you how to apply them to build better habits, break bad ones, and become the person you want to be. The core idea of Atomic Habits is simple but powerful: small habits lead to big results. You don't need a sudden transformation, you just need consistent, tiny improvements. James Clear explains that we often focus too much on goals, thinking I want to lose weight or I want to earn more money. But goals alone aren't enough. Real change comes from systems, the daily habits and routines that shape who we are. Clear says, you do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. Instead of asking, what do I want to achieve, ask, who do I want to become? Every action you take is a vote for the person you wish to be. Small habits, repeated consistently, compound over time and create remarkable results. The first law of behavior change is, make it obvious. Clear explains that habits are often invisible. You might not notice them, but they quietly shape your life. The key to creating a new habit or breaking a bad one is to make your cues clear and noticeable. Think about it: if you want to drink more water, would you reach for a water bottle hidden in a cabinet? Probably not. But place it on your desk where you see it every hour, and suddenly it becomes easier to take that sip. That's the power of making a habit obvious. Clear also introduces a technique called habit stacking. This means attaching a new habit to something you already do. For example, after I brush my teeth, I will floss one tooth. After I pour my morning coffee, I will write down one thing I'm grateful for. By linking new habits to existing routines, you make the cue automatic. Your brain recognizes the pattern, and over time, the habit becomes natural. Environment plays a huge role. Clear says, environment is the invisible hand that shapes human behavior. Your surroundings can encourage good habits or make bad habits unavoidable. If your goal is to read more books, keep books on your nightstand instead of hiding them in a closet. If you want to eat healthier, put fruit on the counter and hide the chips in a drawer. Another tip: use visual cues. Seeing your habit in action, or having a tracker, reinforces it. For instance, if you want to exercise daily, check off each day on a calendar. The visual progress motivates you to continue. Missing one day feels obvious, and you're more likely to get back on track. Making habits obvious also works for breaking bad ones. Remove triggers that prompt unwanted behavior. If you want to stop scrolling social media, put your phone in another room or turn off notifications. Out of sight, out of mind. In short, the first law is all about clarity. You can't change what you don't notice. By making cues obvious, stacking habits onto existing routines, and designing your environment, you set yourself up for success. Small, clear actions repeated consistently become unstoppable habits. The second law of behavior change is, make it attractive. James Clear explains that our brain is wired to repeat behaviors that feel rewarding. If a habit is enjoyable or exciting, we're much more likely to stick with it. On the other hand, if it feels boring or painful, even a good habit is hard to maintain. So, how do we make habits attractive? One simple method is called temptation bundling. This means pairing a habit you need to do with an action you enjoy. For example, only listen to your favorite podcast while exercising. Watch a TV show only while folding laundry or doing chores. By bundling a habit with something pleasurable, your brain begins to associate the new habit with enjoyment. Over time, this increases motivation and makes the habit easier to repeat. Another important tip Clear shares is, surround yourself with the right people. Habits are contagious. If your friends or co-workers are healthy, disciplined, or productive, you're more likely to adopt similar behaviors. Conversely, if your environment encourages laziness or unhealthy habits, it becomes harder to stick to good routines. Your mindset also matters. Clear suggests reframing habits to focus on benefits. Instead of thinking, I have to eat vegetables, think, I get to fuel my body and feel energized. By emphasizing the positive outcome, you make the habit more appealing and rewarding in your mind. Clear also talks about motivation rituals. Before starting a habit, do a small action that makes the task feel more enjoyable or exciting. For example, put on workout clothes, play energizing music, or visualize the positive results. These little rituals prime your brain and make habits more attractive. Finally, the brain loves immediate rewards. Even if the habit leads to long-term benefits, giving yourself small, short-term incentives keeps you motivated. Celebrate small wins, track progress visually, or reward yourself after completing a habit streak. In short, the second law is all about making good habits appealing. The more attractive a habit feels, the more likely you are to do it consistently. By bundling habits with pleasure, surrounding yourself with the right environment, and emphasizing positive outcomes, you can create behaviors that stick effortlessly. The third law of behavior change is, make it easy. James Clear emphasizes that humans naturally follow the path of least resistance. If a habit feels hard or inconvenient, you're less likely to stick with it. The key to lasting behavior change is to reduce friction and make good habits simple to perform. One of Clear's most powerful strategies is the 2-minute rule. When you start a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to do. The idea is simple: start so small that it's almost impossible to fail. Want to start reading? Read 1 page. Want to exercise? Do 2 push-ups. The goal is to focus on showing up, not on perfection. Over time, small actions grow into bigger routines. Clear also stresses reducing friction for good habits and increasing it for bad ones. Make your environment work for you. For instance, keep your gym clothes laid out the night before. Pre-chop vegetables for easy cooking. Place your book on your nightstand to remind you to read. Conversely, make bad habits harder. If you want to stop checking social media, log out of apps, turn off notifications, or move your phone to another room. The harder it is to do a bad habit, the less likely you are to repeat it. Another tip Clear mentions is automation. Automate decisions whenever possible. Set up recurring payments to save money. Reschedule workouts in your calendar. The easier a habit is, the less energy your brain spends resisting it, making consistency effortless. Lastly, focus on progress, not perfection. You don't need huge, dramatic changes. By making small habits easy to do and integrating them into your daily routines, you create a system where good behavior happens naturally. Consistency compounds, and over time, small actions become unstoppable. In short, the third law is all about simplicity. Make your habits small, convenient, and automatic, while making bad habits harder. When it's easy to do, it's easy to stick to, and that's how lasting change begins. The fourth and final law of behavior change is, make it satisfying. James Clear explains that we repeat behaviors that feel rewarding. If a habit feels good, our brain wants to do it again. Conversely, habits that feel unrewarding are quickly abandoned. The key to long-term change is to make positive behaviors immediately satisfying. One simple technique is tracking your habits. Mark an X on a calendar every time you complete a habit. Seeing a streak grow is rewarding. It gives instant visual feedback and motivates you to keep going. Missing one day creates a small feeling of loss, nudging you to return to the habit. Clear also emphasizes immediate rewards. Even if the long-term benefit is massive, your brain craves short-term satisfaction. For example, after finishing a workout, reward yourself with a relaxing shower or a small treat. This makes the habit more enjoyable and reinforces it. Another tip is never miss twice. Everyone slips up occasionally. The key is to get back on track immediately. Missing one day is normal, but missing 2 in a row starts a negative chain. By making habits satisfying, you'll naturally want to continue rather than quit. Finally, Clear highlights identity reinforcement. Celebrate when you act in alignment with the person you want to become. Every time you follow a habit, remind yourself, I'm a healthy person, I'm a productive person. Feeling proud of your small wins makes habits intrinsically rewarding and ensures they stick. In short, the fourth law is all about positive reinforcement. By making habits enjoyable, tracking progress, rewarding yourself, and reinforcing your identity, you create a cycle of satisfaction that keeps good habits alive. When habits feel good, consistency becomes effortless and lasting change is inevitable. Now that we've learned the 4 laws of behavior change, let's talk about some practical ways you can apply them in your daily life. 1. Start small with the 2-minute rule. Pick one habit and shrink it down so it takes less than 2 minutes. Want to meditate? Start with 2 minutes. Want to read more? Read 1 page. The goal is to build consistency first. The bigger results will come naturally. 2. Stack your habits. Attach new habits to something you already do. For example, after I brush my teeth, I will floss 1 tooth, or after I make coffee, I will write down 1 thing I'm grateful for. This makes habits automatic and harder to forget. Redesign your environment. Make good habits obvious and bad habits hard. Keep your water bottle visible, lay out workout clothes, or leave your book on your desk. Remove distractions for habits you want to avoid, like putting your phone in another room while working. 4. Track your progress. Use a habit tracker, calendar, or checklist. Seeing a streak grow is motivating and satisfying. Even a small visual reward encourages you to keep going. 5. Make habits attractive and rewarding. Pair habits with something enjoyable like listening to a podcast while exercising. Reward yourself immediately after completing a habit. Positive reinforcement makes it easier to stick with it. 6. Focus on identity, not just outcomes. Instead of saying, I want to run, say, I am a runner. When habits align with your desired identity, every action reinforces who you want to become. 7. Don't break the chain. Missing a habit once is normal. Just make sure you never miss twice. Consistency compounds, and small repeated actions lead to remarkable results over time. By applying these tips, You can start small, build momentum, and gradually transform your life. Remember, success isn't about massive effort, it's about tiny habits done consistently, every day.